Hello, everyone. It's Junie checking back in with all of you. I just wanted to touch base with all of you real fast just to kind of let you know what's going on with some of the planets in the universe right now. Saturn is going through a major change. It's getting ready to leave the sign of Pisces and switch over at a 0 degrees into the sign of Aries. So it will happen on May 24th, 2025. It's going to remain in Aries until September the 1st, 2025. And then it's going to retrograde. It's going to hop back into Pisces for a little while. And it will be in Pisces until February the 13th, 2026. From February 13th, 2026, it's going to stay there until April 12th, 2028. So this is a massive shift of energy for Kronos, Saturn, who is Father Time. He is known for devouring his own children because he was felt like they were a threat to his throne, right? That's a painting, a famous painting of Saturn, Kronos eating his own children. So, I mean, Saturn is the wise old teacher, the guy that tells you no. He is part of delays. He rules the government, and he's going into Aries, which is a very passionate fire sign that can rule aggression, temper, conflict. It can rule your desires. It can give you courage. It asks you to have a strategy, to have a strategic plan. That is all Aries. And so we have a planet that rules the government going into a sign that is the two rams bumping heads. So it is also the god of war. Aries is the god of war. He rules conflict, anger, aggression. In our crime charts, he rules weapons like guns, things that are sharp. He rules vehicles. He can rule infection. He rules the blood. He rules the private parts. The uterus, not the uterus, but the bladder, the uterine, the bladder, your private parts. And he can also rule disease, some diseases as well. And Saturn is going to be conjunct Neptune, which is a planet of basically our emotions, our psychic intuitive abilities. It rules religion. It rules pharmaceutical companies. It rules drugs, prescription drugs. So you think you have the government meeting up with Pisces, who rules, hospital stays. Pisces rules short hospital stays, long hospital stays. He rules old folks' homes. Neptune rules the elderly old folks' homes. It is the 12th house. It is that final chapter. It is your self-undoing. So, elderly care, hospice care, things like that. Things that have to do with prescription drugs. So we have the government moving conjunct into all of this next to Pisces, which also rules our spirituality. It also rules delusions as well. On the negative side, it can rule delusions. It can rule things that are foggy, things that aren't clear. He's the fog machine. So it's a major shift, and we're going to have this shift until 2028. And then, like I said on an earlier post, I do feel like when Saturn moves into Taurus after 2028, I do feel like we're going to have possibly some problems with banking. Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus and Mercury have a lot to do with our stock market. Okay. I feel like when Saturn goes into Taurus, I did a horror ray chart. It was about a month ago. I did a horror ray chart and was asking about the stock market when all this stuff was going on with the stock market and Trump and all this stuff. And I did see something about the housing market. Now, as you guys know, I'm not a financial astrologer. There are stock market astrologers, okay? There are financial astrologers that know probably a lot more than what I do, but I can just basically tell you some of the basic energies that I felt when I pulled that horror ray chart asking about the stock market. I saw Florida, and I saw, I believe, I can't remember if it was Utah or Colorado first, but I feel like those are going to be the states that kind of show us a red flag if we are going to have a housing market, housing market issues. So, housing market issues, mortgages, banking, the stock market, how we work, how we make money. This is all Taurus. And I would say so around April 12th, 2028. So everything that's happening now, everything that our government is doing now, between now and 2028, I really believe is going to affect when Saturn leaves and goes into Taurus, which rules banking, your possessions, how you own your home, how you have your possessions, how you're able to maintain your home, how you're able to pay for the things that you have is Taurus. How you cherish the things that you have. A lot of people just think Venus is the love planet. She's so much more than your love planet, okay? She's so much more than your love planet. She rules the stock market. She rules our possessions and how we care for them and how we can maintain them, okay? So I do feel like with Saturn, who is the planet of restriction, the planet that tells you no, going into Taurus, of course there could always be 50-50. Of course it could surprise us, and Saturn could be like giving it a boost. Maybe the government gets involved and helps people with their houses or something like that. But he is the planet. We cannot forget that he is the planet of restriction. Just like he's entering Aries right now, and he is the planet of restriction. So could he be restricting war? Let's hope so, because he's going into the sign of Aries right now at a 0 degrees, which is a fresh start, a brand new beginning, like a reboot. And it's the government going in to hopefully, put out the fire, tell the fire to slow down, the anger and the conflict. But I'm not sure, because it's a strong conjunction between Neptune and Saturn. So, I do think we're going to have problems with this big, beautiful bill that passed. I think the whole pharmaceutical thing with the government, it could pan out. I'm praying that it does, but I have my doubts, and you guys know why I have my doubts. So we'll go ahead and look at Donald Trump's astrology, because Algol affected Joe Biden. Algol is also affecting Donald Trump. It's conjunct his sun in his house of reputation. It is in his 10th house. As you can see, the outside planets are the planets that are affecting him today. And the inside planets is his natal chart. So, he's got, the 10th house rules his career and his reputation. And this is what I've been saying about Algol hanging out there. Because Algol has been hanging out there for a little while, okay? He'll be there for a couple more days. Really, the energy of Algol, just like when we do crime charts, when I pull up someone's name, their name placement, I want to make sure that they're either like a 1 degree orb apart from the victim, or from, the planet that's ruling the open enemy. If I pull up a name asteroid, I want to make sure that it's anywhere between 1 to 3 degrees apart. So you're looking for those tight orbs. So Algol is going to be hanging out there for a little while in Trump's 10th house, moving with his sun and Uranus, the planet of shock. So, Donald Trump, his sun sign is conjunct. Uranus. So that's why he speaks a lot of freedom. But you have to remember, his Uranus sign it's in the 10th house, which is ruled by Saturn. So he might speak of freedoms. He might speak of doing change and breaking chains that bind you and doing a new way of freedoms and a new way of doing things. But he is also in the house of control, discipline, and restriction. So there might be just a little something mixed up there, because it's a kind of a contradiction. There's a lot of control with him. A lot of control. Saturn is about controlling you. He is an authority. He is an authoritan. He's an authoritarian. An authoritarian that speaks of freedom. So that's kind of how I see him on his natal chart. As you guys know, I really am not crazy about either side, but I really don't like some of the things that's happening right now with Donald Trump. That's just my own personal opinion. I don't particularly care for what's happening right now in the world. I'm not happy with it, but that's just my own personal opinion. But I can still, read his chart and tell you what I see with what's happening with him, with Algol, the demon star, who's hanging out with the sun sign. Now, we saw what it did to Biden. It was hanging out in his sixth house, which is the house of health. With Joe Biden, Algol, takes out leaders. Algol brings on conspiracy theories with leaders, okay? And he can take a leader out, or a leader can lose their head in public. Now, Algol is hanging out in Donald Trump's 10th house of public, his public image, his reputation, and his career. So, could we see Donald Trump lose his head in public? I'm not sure. Algol is really there, giving him, there's just that energy is there, okay? So that's just what I have for now. I will break down more when I can, but I just wanted to show you what I saw. Now remember, Algol, he is injuries to the neck, injuries to the head, injury to the ear. He is in the sign of Taurus. That does rule the ear, the voice, the throat, the larynx, the gullet. It rules, the head, the upper head. And he does have a lot of power over our leaders. He rules being betrayed, in public, being a betrayal in public possibly, or losing your head in public, or that you literally could have an assassination in public. I hope not. I don't wish that on anybody, but it's there, and it's in his career, so I want to tell you guys about it. I mean, Donald Trump isn't out, I would say he's not out of the woods yet, but this could either give him extreme power. Then on his birthday, like close to his birthday, I'd say between the 9th and the 14th, his Mars is his natal Mars that he's born with, transits his natal Mars. So Mars transits his natal Mars, anywhere between like the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, I can't remember exactly, but I believe around the 9th and 10th and 11th, 12th, maybe even up to the 13th and 14th, he's going to have a lot of Mars energy hanging out over his Mars, his natal Mars, which could make him impulsive. It could make him make a rash decision. I think his birthday's June 14th. So like right before his birthday, he might have to make a rash decision. Also, let's not forget, Aries rules military, Aries rules the police as well. He could say some fighting words. He could say some conflicting words, or he could have the courage to speak out about something right before his birthday as well. Because, I see that Mars hanging out over top of Mars, right? The Mars above him is going to be hanging out over his natal Mars, the Mars that he was born with. Trump has a lot of energy with ego because his Mars is in the sign of Leo, and it hangs out on his AC line. So Trump really has, Mars rules the phallus. He rules the penis on an astrology chart. Okay, the male bravado. And that's sits directly on his AC line with Regulus there. And that's a lot of machoism, a lot of ego. It's what you guys were attracted to. But sometimes that can make him very impulsive. It can make him rash and brash and not think clearly before he makes a decision. Okay? And it could cause him more harm than good. Okay? It might have it obviously got him elected for a lot of our minorities. They voted for that machoism that Trump has, but look where that's gotten a lot of our minorities right now. They're scared for their lives. They're terrified. No opinion about that, but I'm just saying there's things in his chart that I don't like. The fact that he has Algol and Capulus up at his MC. That has always bothered me. I've never been comfortable with it. I know Algol gives him a lot of power, and a lot of cutthroat tenacity, okay? And he has a lot of tenacity with Aries being on his AC line. But sometimes this turns into authoritarian, okay? So there's that fine line with it. That's all I'm saying. There's a fine line. And with Trump, I do see some red flags. That's all I'm going to say. But hopefully, I just want to let you know what I see. Of course, I'm still learning, but this is what I feel when I look at the energies of these planets. Okay, blessings to you all. Take care now. Bye-bye now.